And like I said, man, the job is just it's never over, right? It's a lifelong contract that you sign, being a parent or being a dad, you know. And then there's another aspect, the things that cross my mind of being not just being a father, but being a father of a black child, black boy, right? There's a whole his innocence, right? He don't know nothing. My son is super friendly, man. My son will walk outside and speak and wave to any and everybody, no matter what their skin color is, you know. Um, and I want to keep him as innocent as he can, as long as he can. But there's a whole nother real world aspect that he's gonna have to learn, and that's for me to teach him and prepare him for.
It's your boy Verse, and this is Open Mike with OTR Mike. Shit, yeah.
Yo, what up, good people? It's your boy OTR Mike. Let me be the first to welcome you to another episode of Open Mike with yours truly. That's right, good people. This is the show where the mic is open for any discussion, no matter what it is, who it is, or where it is. And as I start every show, man, let me thank you guys for rocking with me. Right? I do this every show, but I got to because I really, really appreciate you guys. Man, look, this I know you're tired of hearing it, but look, man, this solo journey is not easy. It's not easy, right? Podcasting itself is not easy, but that's a whole nother episode. Um, but I just really appreciate y'all, man, and the love that you guys have been showing. Um, man, a lot of love, man. I don't even know where to start, man. Like just in everything you guys have just been supporting me, and thank you. Thank you. But look, man, a lot has changed in the show with the show. One of the things that's new as I speak about support is I have a Patreon now, right? And man, a lot of you guys have shown love just through watching the show, just through listening on your favorite streaming podcast streaming platforms, and I appreciate that love for sure. And then you have some that has actually joined my Patreon and supported me that way. And um it's already paying dividends, man. A lot of you just showing just showing support, man. The love, like I would have never imagined, right? Starting a Patreon. One. We talked about it even when I was with Off the Record podcast, and I just was like, man, who's gonna join our Patreon, right? And shout out to Jose and Brodney and Lunch Break Hot Take. Shout out to Coach Evans. Shout out to Hendo, the Road Pod. You know, a lot of those guys, man, just told me, man, do it, man. There's a lot of people who would think you dope, and they think you dope, and they want to support your show. Um, and man, they were right. And as you could tell, hopefully you could tell, I have better video quality right now for those who are watching, and that's part of the support that you guys have shown, right? Everything that you put into the show, or any way you support the show, I'm putting it back into the show. And that's one thing that I wanted to do. I wanted to give you guys the best quality, the best show that I could possibly give you. So thank you guys, man. And of course, there's benefits of joining the Patreon. There's different tiers. There's different, like I said, different benefits that you get from becoming a Patreon, man. And I want to show you guys that quickly before we get the show going. One of the things that you can get from being a patron is the Open Mic with OTR Mike drawstring bag. Right? Man, look, y'all going to the gym, y'all going to, the wine festival, you trying to tuck something away, whatever you do, this will be there to help. And then the people will see, like, who's that fly brother on your bag? Right? But that's one thing, right? And then there's also this. Now you see this, right? This is, you just think that's a stripe across my face. No. That's just what it said on the Open Mic wristband, the glow in the dark wristband, right? That's one of the benefits you get. Of course, it says open mic with OTR Mike. And then one of my favorite slogans, phrases, whatever you want to say is the best nation is a donation. So that's hashtag best nation is a donation. So that's on the glow in the dark wristband. And then, of course, man, I got the open mic with OTR Mike stickers. Yeah, man. And then other things will be coming, man. I'm looking into some other things and other benefits to send out my Patreons. So I appreciate that. I really do. And another thing that I promise my Patreon members is you get a shout out. You get a shout out on open mic with OTR Mike. Whether you want it or not, it's just gonna happen. Right? I'm gonna shout you out. So speaking of shouting out, I got some people to show some love to. So take a look at this. For those listening, man, shout out to my man Brandon Bazel. He's my first Patreon. Hendo, the Road Pod. Shout out. Brandon Buck. The Buck Stops Here. Shout him out. D Weezy. Yeah, my guy. Mr. Galloway of Electric Relaxations. Big Reg of Living with Big Reg. Living Legend. Check his music out. Shout out to him, my brother, OTR Brandon. He's a Patreon member. That's not it. Got a couple more for those who are watching. Yeah. Here's the graphic. You all get this. Monique, my girl Monique. Shout out to her. Check her workout. She's dope as well. And then, last but not least, my guy, my brother, Will G. Shout out to you, my friend. And those are the open mic Patreon family members. I call them family members. When you join my Patreon, you get shouted out and you are dubbed my family member. So that's what it is. So those are my family members, my Patreon families, family members, excuse me. Um so yeah, man, appreciate that. I really, really do. Thank you guys so much. There's other benefits like, you get to participate in the show, you get to send me questions that I'll answer on live on the show, however you want to do it. Right? That's just a part of this whole thing. Right? So love you guys, man. I appreciate the support. And if you want to be great like them, it's on the ticker below, www.patreon.com/OTR Mike. That's how you can find my Patreon on my Patreon and become a patron. Check it out. Check out the tiers that might suit you. Enjoy. I appreciate you in advance. So now let's get to the show. Had to pay some bills. You know how that goes. You do these things, you gotta pay some bills. But look, man, I hope to not be before you long, right? And as you can see, I'm solo this week. The past couple of weeks, last couple of episodes, man, I've had guests and I've had great guests, and they allowed me to put the format of my show to test, which is opening up the mic to the guests and letting them come on the show and discuss whatever they want to discuss. And that's what's been happening lately. And I appreciate those guests. But I'm solo because this one kind of just hit me out of nowhere. So I want you to bear with me because I'm a freestyle this one, right? I really don't have any notes. This is just gonna come off the dome. This is just coming off the heart. So hopefully I don't ramble too long and I can get on with the show and you guys can understand what I'm talking about. So sit back, relax, man, and join me in this conversation. So we all have Facebook pages, right? Well, most of us do, right? I mean, if you don't have a Facebook page, you probably had it and you just got off of one or got off of it. And then, I guess there are a few people who really don't rock with Facebook, never really did. But majority of the people I know have a Facebook page, right? And one of the cool things about Facebook is they have the memories feature, right? Where when you log on each day, it'll show you memories of past posts. Could be 7 years ago that you made a post, and it'll show you what you posted that day, which I think is cool, man, because it gives you a chance to reflect on whatever it is, whether you're young you and you get to see how crazy you was posting, or man, it just brings back a memory that you may have forgot about. Right. So I just think that's cool. Um, but when I saw mine today, it hit me, right? And it put me in reflection mode. And shout out to D Murph, right? Who, when he was on open mic, he talked about reflecting, and that's what he did while he was talking to me. Man, it gave him a chance to reflect on a lot of things, and um, I appreciate him for that. So shout out to D Murph. But that's what this Facebook memory post did for me today. It put me in reflection, right? And it made me begin to reflect on my first 4 years as a father, right? Because the post was about my son and my son being born and um, some of the ups and downs of being a new father. So I'm gonna show you the post. Here's the post, man. 4 years ago today. All right. It says fatherhood is not easy. My boys tried to tell me that. I believed them, of course. Sometimes you feel like you're doing too much. Sometimes you feel like you could be doing more. You feel every little tummy ache right along with them. The saying about being exhausted is all facts. But with all that said, my bro, Donnie Wallace, has always said he wouldn't trade it for the world and how it's the best feeling ever, which is also facts. I've grown to love these moments because it gives me a chance to give him that secure feeling. A way to let him know daddy got him. Plus, I know one day he will be too damn grown for all of that. Anyway, the moral of the story is fatherhood is not easy, but it damn sure is worth it. Shout out to all the brothers on my timeline doing their thing and for all the advice prepping me for this. So yeah, man, it just put me back in that moment, right? And I talk about keeping him secure, and what I meant by that is this picture was on the post. This is me holding my son, who at that moment was a month and 1 day old, and as you can see in my face, I am dead tired. But man, I love those moments with him. Man, I loved him, falling asleep on my shoulder and resting on me and just him clutching me, I just wanted him to feel secure. And no matter what was going on, if he wasn't feeling well or had a little tummy ache, whatever it was, man, I just wanted him to know that dad got him. Right. But I also talk about in that post basically, the ups and downs of it. Right. And look, a lot of my guys, I'm probably I am the last in the crew of my crew to have kids, right? And so a lot of my guys were veterans already in the game, and they were telling me, man, look, this is what you expect. Look, you ain't gonna get no sleep. You ain't gonna, and everything they said, man, kind of scared me. It's like, damn, am I sure I want to do this? But they would always end it. Like I said, I shout out my man Donnie Wallace. He would always say, man, but through all of that, it's the best thing that ever happened to him. It's the best feeling in the world to be someone's dad. And he was 100% correct, right? And he was also 100% correct on other things that he told me that scared me a little bit, right? And man, just thinking like back to being in the hospital or even going back further, man, all of the scares or the false alarms, right? Thinking my wife is going into labor and false alarm, y'all gotta go home. To that moment where, we went and they were like, okay, this is it, right? And that feeling and the fear kind of and the anxiety in that, right? And then getting ready for him to come out, right? And back then, they gave the father or whoever was the guest of the woman giving birth, they gave them a key card at the hospital my son was born in anyway. And you were responsible for letting in anybody who was coming to visit or coming to be a part of the childbirth. So my mother-in-law was in town, of course, and she went up to the cafeteria to get something to eat because all morning, all morning long, all afternoon long. Ah, not ready yet, not ready yet, not ready yet. So she goes to the cafeteria to get something to eat. The doctor comes in, checks my wife, and she's like, "Oh, it's go time." Right. And it just it happened that quick. And I'm calling my mother-in-law, like, yeah, she's about to go, she's about to give birth. So my mother-in-law drops whatever she has. She runs down. I have to run out the room to swipe her in. Right. So by the time I run out the room to swipe her in and we get back to the room, man, my wife is already pushing. So I'm like, well, damn, I guess you can't wait for me on this, right? And standing there and holding my wife's hand. And she had prepped me before, like, look, don't say nothing dumb. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear breathe, you count 2 1 3 2 1. She don't want to hear none of that, right? And so I'm sitting there, and I'm feeling like I'm in the way. I'm lost. I'm at a loss for words. I don't know what to say. I just wanted to make sure I ain't faint or nothing. And like, yo, the only thing, the only thing. Now, mind you, my wife was handling this like a champ. Not one tear. Now I know, they give them some feel good juice, so they don't really feel what's going on. But still, like I've heard some women giving birth and giving it up, like crying, like screeching. And I'm like, oh, please don't let that be my wife. But she wasn't. But the only thing I could muster up was, well, if that's his head, he sure got a lot of hair. That's the only thing that came out of my mouth. Yeah, I know. I know y'all shaking y'all head. Y'all laughing right now. I know, but that's the only words that would come out of my mouth at that time, right? I was I was faced with, you know, in the back of my head not saying something that's gonna piss her off while she giving birth. And then, I'm caught in between that and caught in between not saying anything. You feel like you gotta say something. All right. So I'm like, yeah, yeah, that's it. You got a lot of hair. That's what came out of my mouth. Yeah, anyway, my son being who he is, some of you who are uh avid listeners, as my man D Merce of the show, yeah, I've heard and seen stories for my son and just his little personality showing out. And true to form, man, my son comes out, they hold him up, he don't say a peep. So, like I'm still kind of in awe, and then like my heart stops for a minute because I'm like, wait, he's supposed to cry or something, and then finally he cries, right? So I'm like, and then they lay him on the little warming bed and checking his weight, and he starts peeing on the nurse. Yeah, he was all of 3 minutes old, and he started peeing on the nurse. Yeah, and another thing, the only other words I can muster out at that point is, "That's my son." But man, to that joy and the up and down of that moment, and how fast it goes, and like seeing your life basically flash before your eyes because your life is changing at that moment. To you know just know, like getting him in the room where we're staying and sleeping on that hard ass couch. Look, well, I picked a recliner, but just a bit of advice for the brothers that's about to be new dads. And I know it's a couple of y'all. Do not fall for the couch. Ask for the recliner. Okay. Now the recliner ain't great, but that couch, it's gonna have you stuck in the hospital. They're gonna have to admit you because your back is gonna be hurting. Your back is gonna be done. So get the recliner. Just a bit of advice, and that was advice that some of my brothers that gave me. Hey, bro, get that recliner. Sleep in that recliner. Um, but yeah, those moments to spending time with him, um, you know, holding him and going on Facebook Live, man, and calling everybody, and man, I was on cloud nine. Cloud nine. I'm like, yeah, got my son, got my baby boy now. In all honesty, my wife wanted a boy. I wanted a girl because I figured, like, all right, man, I'm a little older. We probably ain't gonna have no more kids. You know, we got two boys. My bonus kids, and then one girl, my bonus daughter Sky. So, like, man, let's even it out, right? So I wanted a baby girl, and I knew if I had a baby girl, I was gonna be wrapped. I was gonna be wrapped. She look, she was gonna have me wrapped around her little finger or whatever. But at the end, all I wanted was a healthy baby, right? And you know, for the most part, that's what we got, right? But that's the next side. That's the ebb and flow in it. So you on cloud nine, and then the nurse comes in and says, "Hey, y'all can't go home just yet." We like, why? Well, he has a slight heart murmur, and I'm like, okay. And we got to do an EKG on him and all of this above, and so now anything with the heart, man, you're nervous, you're afraid. So it went from feeling like $1,000,000 to feeling worthless, right? Because you just, again, you see something so small and innocent, and you just want to protect it at all costs, and you want to take whatever they got going on from them. So had to go through all of that, and then the unknown of what the heck they talking about, because you know, to their credit, right? Nurses and doctors, man, they deal with this all day long. So some of this stuff is like it's like normal to them, right? But to parents, you know, you hearing it and you kind of frantic and you're afraid, you're scared. And nurses and doctors can kind of be a little lackadaisical when they, oh yeah, you got a heart murmur. And I'm like, what? That's not just a little like kind of conversation. Like, let's talk about this. Um, so again, feeling like, what the heck is going on? So finally, all of that squared away. We get to go home. Um, take my man to the crib, you know, and my wife decided to breastfeed. Get home, she can't produce the milk, or he's not latching on, one of the above. So then we had to go scramble to get formula so that he could obviously eat, or he'll be crying all night until my wife was able to produce the milk. So that was another thing. And I remember, man, sitting in the living room on the couch, sitting next to her. She's holding him, and I'm sitting there stone faced, kind of like the dude sitting there on Get Out, like your face is just kind of. And I'm like, yo, what is going on? What is going on? This is my new life, right? Um, and then crazy enough, man, a couple days later, my wife not feeling well. But we wondering what's going on. My wife goes to an urgent care. She got the flu. She got the flu. So guess who's thrusted in front of everything? Yeah, that's right, your boy, OTR Mike. I was thrusted to the front of the line. That was, hey, bruh, you ain't got time to ease your way into this situation. You're up, right? You're up to bat. And luckily, man, look, my mother-in-law was in town. Shout out to her. She was a huge help. But I kind of wanted to, I kind of wanted to handle and see what I could do on my own. You know what I mean? Because look, when my mother-in-law was leaving in a couple days, I wouldn't be able to call her. My mother-in-law lives in New Jersey, so I wouldn't be able to call on her. She was not like she was around the corner. So I had to figure out some of these things, man, and the crying and then him being so small and new, like literally days old, and I'm trying to handle him with care because I'm feeling like I'm gonna hurt him, and you know, babe, newborns, man, they want their mama, right? And the fact that he couldn't be with his mom for a couple days was rough. Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. And man, then What happened after that? From so my wife got better, obviously, and things are smooth, kinda. And then it's this whole thing with my son, and you know, gas pains and colicky and all of this stuff, man. It's like, sheesh, what? Why is it not like the movies? Like in the movies, they'll show you this side of it. They just show you the happy family, white picket fence, come home with the strollers, waving to the neighbors coming over to see the baby. Even though we ain't play that, right? Yeah, I give them a couple weeks before, what I mean, or clean your hand. Make sure your hands clean. But that's not what it was like, right? And um, even down to as he got older, man, a couple months old, and I'll be honest with y'all, because this is what we do is open mic, right? This is open mic, and this is my safe space. And so I'm gonna just keep it 100 with y'all. I had moments where I cried, right? And I cried like I spoke of in the post, like because I felt like I wasn't doing enough, right? And there was moments like, like I said, how not toddlers, even toddlers, but newborns, again, they're attached to their moms, right? And there would be moments when, I would want to, hey, give him to me. I'll feed him, or I'll take him or I'll change him. And he's crying, right? Crying, crying, crying. And then my wife grabbed him and it's all good. And I took that to heart, being a new parent, right? Being a new dad. I took that to heart. And I'm like, man, I can't even calm my son. Like my son don't like me. Like all of that, all of those things went through my head. And it took my wife sitting me down and saying, look, man, first of all, get yourself together. Second, like, he was in my womb for 9 months, right? I am his I'm his food source. Like, there's going to become a moment where he won't want anything to do with me and want to be all up your butt, which is kind of currently now, right? So relax. Like, it's okay. You can't take this personal. Right now, my wife has had other kids. Like I said, my bonus kids. So this is I'm new. I'm new. So you know, it upset me. I'm keeping it a buck with you, man. I cried. I cried because I just thought that, man, my son don't want me, so then I can't be the help that I want to be to my wife, who, again, who I was in awe of. Like my wife ate that childbirth like it was nothing, like it was a sandwich. Like I'm like, yo, you walking around and doing all that now? Like I thought she was gonna be. Yeah, so she gave birth to a child, 8 pounds, 7 ounces, came home, had the flu for a couple of days, and then was still kind of, diddy bopping around the crib. And I'm like, yo, how you do that? So I just wanted to be help. I wanted to be some type of help, take some things off of her, man. And I felt like I couldn't do that. So it broke me down a little bit, man. And so again, that's that ebb and flow of being a daddy, man, and being a new father. Um, and then there's times when you felt like you in the way, right? When you felt like you crowded, you hovering, you just you wanna do too much. So balancing those feelings, man, it was rough, right? It was rough for me personally, right? And I feel safe in saying I know I'm not the only new father who's felt like that, right? But then even back to the post, um, like I said, my boys have been vets in the game, and it's not that I didn't believe what they said, because in the post I clearly said, yo, I believed them. But, you know, to my own bullheadedness and stubbornness, I felt like I'm gonna be all right? Just because I've been around babies all my life, right? My nieces and nephews, my great nieces and nephews. I've had intimate relationships with them, right? You know, not on some, hey, yeah, I'll watch them for a couple hours and send them home. No, like been around me, grew up in the same households. My sister gave birth to my niece Tiara when she was young. So, we were still living in the same household. So my nieces and nephews kind of grew up with me as being like a big brother, more so than an uncle. You know what I mean? So I changed shitty diapers and all of that. Like I've been there. I was there. I've been watching them through elementary school and middle school and high school, graduations and proms and first boyfriends, first girlfriends, all of that. Yeah, like I was kind of that guy that they called upon. So I'm like, man, I'm ready for this. And boy, was I wrong. And that's what my boys tried to explain to me. Like, man, it's different, right? It's different. And it really was. It's no lie about that. It really was different. And man, even to this point, man, my son, 4 years old, just turned four, about a month or so ago, and his personality and you know, it's just a new challenge. No matter what stage of their life it's in, right? You never get rid of the side of them being sick, right? They go into daycare or school and things like that, and they get sick. And then my son, I tease him, but I call him a COVID baby, right? Like because he grew up in that time, man, when we went through that. So that extra protection. So like little things excite my son now. Going outside is like a new adventure for him because he was sheltered for the first year of his life. His first birthday was a virtual birthday party. Yeah, on Zoom. You know what I mean? Like that's just crazy times, you know, that we went through, that I went through as a parent. And I even thank God, man, that he was born before all of that mess. Cause I don't know what I would have done, at that time frame when you had women giving birth and nobody can be in the room with them. You know what I mean? And like they gotta sit in the car. That type deal, man. I'd be going nuts. So um but just raising him through all of that mess and still the job is just it never ends, right? And the whole lack of sleep part, that's facts, right? And I don't think you ever get sleep again as a parent, right? Because you always worry about your child, no matter if they 2 days old or 42 years old, right? You're just always gonna worry about that. Um, and then you just have a new task, man, of raising somebody, man, and how much um you will impact their upbringing, right? And that's a tall task, man, and it's not a job that I take lightly, man. So, look, I'm kind of rambling here, but that's what happened, man. Seeing that Facebook memory, man, it made me reflect on my first 4 years as a parent, man. And man, it is, as Donnie said, man, it's fun. It's great, man. But it can be stressful, right? Um, but all of the stresses that come out of it, man, and watching, like I said, watching your kids, deal with colds or flus or, God forbid, some kids who had COVID and things like that. Man, you know, you want to take all of that from them. And um, if you could, you would as a parent. That's just that feeling that you have once you become someone's father or someone's mom or whatever the case may be. And like I said, man, the job is just it's never over, right? It's a lifelong contract that you sign, being a parent or being a dad, you know. And then there's another aspect, the things that cross my mind of being not just being a father, but being a father of a black child, black boy, right? There's a whole his innocence, right? He don't know nothing. My son is super friendly, man. My son will walk outside and speak and wave to any and everybody, no matter what their skin color is, you know. Um, and I want to keep him as innocent as he can, as long as he can. But there's a whole nother real world aspect that he's gonna have to learn, and that's for me to teach him and prepare him for. Right. So yeah, man. That's kind of where that post took me. Right. And then, before I get out of here, I do want to give a little bit of advice to, fathers who, or soon to be new fathers, right? Don't be like me, right? Even though I did, like I said, don't take me wrong. I listened to my boys. I really did, right? And I took all of their advice. But that little bit of stubbornness, right? Thought that I was, more prepared for it than I was. So my advice to you guys is to listen. Listen to me and what I'm telling you right now, right? Um, you know, listen to the advice and that your friends who are already fathers that they're giving you, right? Be prepared for any and everything, right? And there is one of the thing that was always told to me is like, yo, there's no manual for this. And that's 100% true, right? And another person I want to shout out to a former coworker of mine, Nara. She would always ask me, like, when you gonna have kids? And I would say, man, I'm not ready. And one bit of knowledge that she dropped on me that I've never forgotten, up until the point of even having my own child, is she said, you will always be able to say you're not ready to be a father or a parent because it's just not something you can prepare for. You can try to prepare financially. You can try to prepare from a stand. You can set up the house to be baby proof, as baby proof as it can be. Fort Knox of baby proofing, right? You can do those type of things, but the mental side of it, the on the fly side of it, the part that's unpredictable, you'll you'll never be able to say 100% that, hey, I'm ready, right? Because you just don't know. There's a bit of unknown to being a parent and a father. So listen, listen and, yeah, take advice, and I had, as I said in the post, man, shout out to all the people who were coaching me through that thing, because I had a lot of people, and on that particular post, man, I had a lot of people saying like, yo, you're doing a great job. There's, as I just said, there's no manual to it. Keep pushing. Um, Even some that said, man, you had a great example in your father, you know, so you're gonna be good. And that's a whole nother aspect too, like going through that journey of becoming a father and losing my dad and not having him to lean on, man, was tough, right? Now, like I said, I had my boys, to lean on. I had other, father like figures to lean on, but it's nothing like being able to call your dad and say, man, how'd you handle this? Right. Um, and I didn't have that, so that was tough for me. But lean on those people. To all my new brothers that's about to become dads, man, lean on those people. And I don't want to scare you like they scared me because it's a great thing. It's a great thing, and it's going to change your life in the most beautiful, most positive way. It is. But just listen, man. The more you listen and listen to the advice and take heed to it, man, you'll be just fine. So yeah, man. Look, I hope I ain't ramble too long. Like I said, I ain't had no notes on this. This kind of just hit me, and I wanted to get on here and record this. So I hope you know you guys liked it. I hope I ain't wasn't talking in circles. Sometimes I can do that, especially when I'm spitballing these things. But man, I appreciate y'all listening. And I hope you feel my reflection of my first 4 years as a father. So that's the show, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Like y'all, look, y'all are dope. You guys are dope. But before I get out of here, as you can see, for those watching, um, on the ticker below, there is a uh, web address for my Patreon, as I already said, and there's also uh, a link, a web address for the Roundup meet and greet that we're having. It'll be in Columbia, Maryland at Busboy and Poets. You can get tickets at Eventbrite. Just search up Roundup Meetup or Meet and Greet, and it will pop up. And trust me, it is going to be a good time. Just to give you a quick understanding of what's going on, I got a short video to show you. So check this out. So that's right, man. It's a meet and greet. We call it the Roundup meet and greet. As you saw, it'll be Brodney and Jose at Lunch Break Hot Take. It will be Coach Athens of Sip to Tally Film. It'll be Chris Just Joking of the Deep Cover podcast. I'm sorry. Hendo of the Rogue Pod, and myself of Open Mic, which was truly, man, it is going to be a dope event. Come and get free food. Come and get free soft drinks. Okay, free soft drinks. Yeah, the stuff it'll be there, but it might cost you a little bit. Nah, but we'll have giveaways, man. We'll have tables set up to sell merch. Yeah, man, it's going to be dope. We're gonna have music. The venue is amazing. Some of the locals have heard of Busboy and Poets. It is a nice spot. Some of you have seen it. And then, for my out of town listeners, man, come on in. Come check us out, man. We got a lot of people coming in from as far as California. Shout out to Suge. Man, I think he's coming in town, man. So check it out. Look, tickets are going quick. So you can get your tickets on Eventbrite at Roundup Meetup and Meet and Greet. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Just search that up on Eventbrite and it will come up. So I hope to see you there. All right. But that's the show, man. I am your boy, OTR Mike, man. You can follow me on TikTok and Twitter at OTR underscore Mike. You can find me on Instagram at OTR Mike underscore. If you have not subscribed to this channel already, go ahead over there and subscribe, man. I'm on the road to 500 subscribers. Got a little ways to go, but I know you guys are going to help me get there. So I appreciate you in advance. For those of my audio listeners, man, I am on all your favorite podcast streaming platforms. I'm there, man. And while you're there, give your boy a 5-star rating. I appreciate you again. And that's the show, man. I'll catch y'all next week. I holla. Peace.